I'm Erica Mays, and I participated in a theater showcase when I was 15 years old, completely forgot all my lines, and ever since then, I've wanted to be an actor. So really, this is just about proving to myself I can do it, and I know anything is possible.
Hi, my name is Akim Black, and one of the things that had me want to be an actor was being a fan of The Cosby Show, and I had a crush on Vanessa, and I just wanted to be her boyfriend, so I had to become an actor to do that.
I'm Felicia Rashad, and I first fell in love with acting when I was 11 years old. I discovered the joy of playing in the light and the even greater joy of communicating from the heart. That's why I'm an actor.
People of color have had immeasurable influence on the arts, from trailblazers with immediate impact to those who worked in anonymity until their brilliance was recognized long after they left us. The road has been arduous, yet we forge ahead. Inside the Black Box celebrates our collective experience as we reflect on a history that leads to a magnificent future. In this episode, Tony Award winner and legendary actress Felicia Rashad.
Tracy Moore
and I'm Joe Morton, and welcome to Inside the Black Box. Our special guest today is the incredible Felicia Rashad.
This theater is more than just four plain walls. It's a place where you can leave your inhibitions at the door and let your imagination run free.
So, we're here on Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village, the home of Nina Simone, James Baldwin, Basquiat, people who changed the way we read, the way we look at art, the way we listen to music. I come from Harlem, that's where I was born. The thing about Harlem is that so much innovation came from the residents who lived there, who changed popular culture all over the world. And so the hope here is that we are going to follow those legends, we're going to follow those heroes through all of you, given the paths that you have chosen.
We also have our general audience up there who is getting a bird's eye view. You guys good? Yeah. Okay. And this is presented by the General Insurance. So I want you guys to be prepared because at any moment I could choose you to come down here and do a scene or a monologue. Okay? So you guys ready to have some fun? Let's do some improv.
The name of this place that we're in is Inside the Black Box. Now, inside this particular black box is a prop. And I'm gonna ask, or someone will ask someone here to put their hands inside this black box to discover a prop. And then it will be your job to do an improv centering around that prop. 2 minutes.
That's it.
2 minutes.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna choose somebody. Oh, let's get you. Who are you? Who are you? Acting like she's in The Price of Right. This is Inside the Black Box. So what is your name?
Gretchen Natalie No from Jersey. You heard me?
Okay. All right, Gretchen. Let's get, come on over here.
Yay!
Yes, what is your name, young lady?
I am Jaleesa Capri, and I'm from Brooklyn.
Okay, Brooklyn.
Yeah!
Okay, ladies.
Shall we open the box?
Yes.
Here we
Let's
go.
open it.
Reach in. And tell them what it is.
It is a flask.
Okay, Flask. 2 minutes on action. And action.
Is it something you want to tell me?
Oh, what you holding that for?
What is this?
What do you mean?
What is this? I found it in your bag.
I don't.
No. Don't do that. Because we talked about this. And you said that you were done. What happened?
I don't remember
No,
having
don't.
that.
Stop
Probably
doing
old.
this. No, it's not old. It is new and it's empty. Which means that you drank it all.
I did not.
You said that you were stopping this. What happened?
I don't even
No,
remember.
don't-
It's
no,
probably old.
How about you own up to the things that you do, okay? Because you have cost me everything.
Would you let me explain?
Please.
It seems like you're trying to make me feel like I'm
No,
still doing
do not
something.
make me look
You know
stupid
I
like
am
you
not.
do.
I'm not trying to make you look like you're so
Then what are you doing?
And I am like still in the pit of being an alcoholic because I am not.
you
That is
are
not
in
mine.
Okay.
That is not mine. First of all, what are you doing in my purse? That's what I want to know. Why are you all in my purse? Okay, mind your business. Because if I want to be an alcoholic, then I'll just be an alcoholic. And you ain't got to be trailing behind me like you my mama, because you're not my mama.
How much you have cost me. You don't know how much I have lost staying with you. You don't know how much this addiction that you love so much. If that's what you love, then you take it. You take that.
I don't want it.
You take it instead of me, okay? Because clearly, that's all you care about.
It is.
Wow.
Go to hell. Don't go through my shit no more.
And scene. Give it up for them. Now, I'm going to tell you what I really liked about this scene was I felt the relationship between the two of you. I felt like you guys were sisters. Without saying I'm her sister, there was this connection between the two. I felt like Jaleesa was the older sister and you were the younger sister. I don't know the pain that she caused you, but it was deep, Gretchen. Like maybe driving with, you know, someone and almost get into an accident. I don't know what it was. But I also love the fact that you stayed grounded. Yes. You know, and you had a place to go. Otherwise, you know, the yelling and the screaming, okay. But we want to know what's going on in the scene, and this gave us an opportunity to really understand the scene and understand you guys as characters.
Don't be fooled by the idea of if I'm loud, that's going to work. Things like loud happiness, loud anger, those are easy places to get to. It's all the nuances in between all that that seem more interesting. Your use of language is really kind of wonderful. We said, tell them what this is, and your first thing was, what is this? That's wonderful.
Yeah,
that's
that was
wonderful.
great. Yeah,
really
that was
using
really great.
language in a really good way.
You guys did a great job.
I'm Jamie Dion, and this cameo is going right to the top of my resume. See you soon.
The world didn't know we could be doctors, we could be lawyers, we could be anything that we put our mind to.
Where was the world?
Our first guest is an old friend, great colleague, someone I've known for a very long time. And she was also the first woman of color to win a Tony Award for her performance as Lena in A Raisin in the Sun.
Mama, I never went to the bank at all. Mama, it's all gone. All of it. Mama, I'm sorry.
I seen him come home night after night. He look at the rug and he look at me. Red showing in his eyes, veins moving in his head. I seen him grow thin and old before he was 40, working and working and working like somebody's old horse, killing himself. And you give it away in one day.
Mama.
God.
Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Phylicia Rashad.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, as I said just now, you won a Tony for playing Lena in A Raisin in the Sun. Can you tell us, please, what did you draw on to play Lena?
Yeah. I am very fortunate to have parents who were born and reared in rural areas of the South. And so as a little girl, I planted potatoes, and I picked figs, and I gathered eggs, and I pumped water from the well, and I emptied slop jars. And in Chester, I picked plums and peaches and watched the most incredible sunsets. Real southern environment, you know? The thing that was incredible about Lena for me was, in this discovery, was that she grew up in a rural area in the South where things grew. And she was accustomed to being in a place where things grew. And no, she didn't have a college degree. She didn't even have a high school diploma, but she knew the most important thing. She knew how to love and to make things grow. So that became the nexus for understanding that character.
So, interesting thing that she says, right? So she has a character, and in the script it says she has this flower that she takes care of all the way through the play. And what Felicia did, she then did history on someone who knows how to grow things. And that exponentially means not just the plant, obviously, but her children and the people around her. So now I'm going to skip. You played that mother, and then you played a completely different mother many, many years later in The Cosby Show.
Young man, is what marriage is made of. It is give and take 50-50. And if you don't get it together and drop these macho attitudes, you are never gonna have anybody bringing you anything, anywhere, any place, anytime, ever. Now, what would you like in your coffee?
Maybe I could get you some coffee.
Oh, but that's all right. I don't mind getting it, but thanks for offering.
I had a wonderful friend who was a neighbor. And her name was Janice Christian. And Janice was the mother of 2 children, and her husband was an engineer for IBM. And she had a law degree from Howard University. She was one of the smartest women I knew. She just loved her family. And she loved her family so much. Oh, she always drove us crazy. And she never, ever, ever took time for herself. And it was okay, because she was just, her home was like, you could hear the laughter just pouring out of the windows any day of the week, any time of day. It was just a loving environment, right? So Claire Huxtable was like that.
That was the first time that we had seen an African-American family like that. What did you feel your responsibility was as an actress? The world didn't know we could be doctors, we could be lawyers, we could be anything that we put our mind to.
Where was the world?
They weren't there yet.
It's so interesting what the world believes.
Right.
It's so very interesting. That's why it's the most important thing is what you believe.
Amen.
What you know about yourself and what you believe, you know, because the world would have you think that you are not who you are.
True.
I then today learned something I didn't know before, which is that your mother was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize as a poet. How did that come to be?
My mother, growing up in South Carolina, attended a school, Brainerd Institute, which was right across the street from her home, that was founded by the Presbytery. There were a number of schools founded by the Presbytery throughout the South for the descendants of freed African people. And these schools prided themselves on classical education. There was a tennis court, chemistry lab, instruction in math, in literature, and in music. My mother was artistic by nature. And as a little girl, she used to sit in the swing in the front yard. This is what she told me, swinging as high as she could go, dreaming big dreams, big dreams. So my parents married, And my mom said, I only learned this a few years ago, the plan was that when my father set up his dental practice, she would be going back to college because she didn't finish, she married, but that didn't happen. But creativity is like this. It will find its way. Just like trees grow up through rocks, it will find its way. So she began to write. What I remember as a little girl is she'd get up early in the morning. Between the hours of 3 and 6, she said, were her best hours for writing. And as children, we used to wake up and say, can we get up? And don't touch those papers, you know. She had these big dreams, and that first journey into New York, into sophisticated places, she discovered the truth and warmth of home, and she wrote about that in her poem On Status. 'Twas many a year since I left home, a girlish girl, Hades bent to roam. Can't take this town, I used to say, it's dull and quiet country way, so I boarded a train, kissed all goodbye. And in my heart was a sentimental sigh, for I would go to live in a city where people and dreams and hearts were bigger, while they remained to work and toil in a town whose thriving was of soil. For long it worked, I knew no distress. I even dared to write them less. What need had I for folk degenerate whose thinking and living were out of date? But then one day, self I found, all of me confusion bound. Problems high as Jack's beanstalk, and no one with whom to talk. My dilemma was all my own. No counseling dad, no kindness shown. But now my heart knows no delight like a trip back to the old home site. And not for money would I scoff at a screen door hanging off. So they got no tall skyscrapers, clowns in nightclubs cutting capers. It's home. The folk are warm. And most of all, I belong.
Oh, man. Wow. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Oh.
I could listen to this woman talk all day.
Me too. There's one of the things in growing up, right, and watching One Life to Live. I had never seen anyone like you with such grace and such elegance that you bring to characters and moments. Your reactions they're so strong and dynamic. In soap opera, at that time in the 70s, late 70s, there were very few African American actors in the soap opera world. How did you penetrate that?
Well, this is very interesting. I'd had an audition for One Life to Live, and nothing came of it. So a few years passed. And with a few years passing, life happens, and you find yourself in different circumstances. And for the first time, I found myself in an unemployment line. My mother once said, I don't believe in unemployment. Well, neither did I. But there I was, and I had a young son to feed, and so I did that. Now, this is all coming to what you just asked me about. So the thing about unemployment, for those of you who happily do not know, you'd have to go every week to sign up, right? So that meant on that day, during that time slot, if there was an audition, which inevitably there would be, you had a choice. You could go to the audition, maybe not get that job, or you could go and sign up for your unemployment check.
But you're praying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that. And there I was standing in that line one day. And this was a day after. This was the day after I had passed by that same ABC studio, and I looked at it and I thought, some time has passed since that audition. Surely I've grown somewhat. I wonder what I would do with that audition now. And I just kept going. The next day, I'm standing in the unemployment line. And the people look so unhappy, and they treat you like you've done something wrong.
And it's their money.
You earned that money, but they treat you like you're taking something you're not supposed to have.
Right.
And the people were miserable. And all right, you all forgive me. I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to lay it out for
Yes,
you, okay?
this is the place to lay it out.
I was standing in that line, and all of a sudden, something came over me, and I closed my eyes and said to myself, I swear by the presence of God within me, this is my last day in this line. Wow. And the next day, I received a call to come and audition for One Life to Live.
One of the things, I have a friend who wrote for All My Children, and one of the challenges for her was writing for Black characters, because her frustration in being in that writer's room and not being able to create words authentically of what Black actors would say, or just even circumstances that if acting is recreating the human experience, then our experiences weren't being shown. And so she was in that room fighting by herself.
These experiences, though apparently different, are really the same. Think about it.
Okay.
Every mother, no matter what ethnicity she is, experiences the pain of childbirth.
Yes. Yes.
Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what the ethnicity is.
Right.
We all got to learn how to walk.
Right.
Nobody feels good going to bed hungry, whether you're in Ireland, Poland, China. It's the same.
Right.
These differences, yes, and there are apparent differences.
Yes.
But this is the beauty of the differences, they're veils. And when you take those veils apart, there's one light, only one, that's shining in every human heart.
That's right.
Only one. And that light is so magnificent, it can clothe itself in any kind of thing. True.
I know.
I know you know. I know you know. And this is the space to create from.
Yes.
It is not the case that every Caucasian person grew up in a mansion.
That is true.
It is not
Although they would have us believe so.
Hello, the world and the media.
world,
and
yes.
Yeah.
You know? But when you get to know people one-on-one,
Right.
it's a different thing, you know? So I listen to these things with amusement because it's the play of the world. And I listen to these things, and I listen to these things, and I say, that's why. That's why. That's why there's all this conflict and confusion, because we get caught in this net of apparent differences. And it's not allowing anyone to see, recognize, and experience our common humanity. And that, to me, is the greatest tragedy ever. Because it binds us all. Yes. All of us.
All of us.
Yeah.
I was teaching a course at NYU, truncated course, 4-week course on August Wilson's 10-play century cycle, okay? And most of the students in the class were not African American. And as a prerequisite to the course, I had all the students read the 13th and 14th Amendments, because that's what the cycle is all about, freedom and what makes you free. Well, I want you to know that halfway through the course, the young people who were not of ethnic hue said, I'm not free. because they realized those things that bind people were binding them, that they were being, they didn't like it. They did not like it.
Well, that's what's going on today with all of the people are not realizing that they're not free and calling it something else, calling it being overtaken, calling it, you know, being usurped, calling it any number of things.
Yeah, call it what you will.
Exactly.
Call it what you will. The basic premise is you ain't free, okay? When you...
Do you feel the climate today? Are our young actors, our creative beings, being mentored? Are they being guided properly?
I guess every generation has its challenges. They're faced with challenges we did not have.
That's right.
$150 a month for a one-bedroom apartment seemed like a lot to us, didn't it, Joe? But that apartment would have space and light in it, right? Yeah, I said $150 a month for a one-bedroom apartment in a building with a doorman.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in an apartment on 157th Street, and I paid $175 a month for a one-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
This was 1968. It was the year I left school.
Oh, I remember when they raised the rents, and then that one-bedroom apartment went up to $325.
Oh.
We thought we were going to choke and die. How are we going to do it?
We got to get roommates.
How's this going to happen? But when I look at what young people face today, I wonder, what is this about?
Well, my answer to those things, usually if it's a problem, it usually is about money.
So is it that they want all of it, or they just don't want us to have none of it?
I think, what's the difference? What's the difference?
Both.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to share this with you. See, this is where you really have to know who you are. And this is the importance of knowing the power of your mind and how you think. It isn't that you're gonna think, and something's gonna be right there when you open your eyes. It's that you remember who you are and what it is you're doing. And that's what you pay attention to. Pay attention to that.
There's one more question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
And that question is, what was it like having to audition or work with an actor that you admired when you were a young actress, that you admired and that you looked up to, and here you were with this person and you were working with them? What did that feel like?
That's what it felt like.
So my question.
Happened a few times.
So my question is, are you willing to give that experience to one of these kids?
Okay.
And the answer is yes. Although I think I resented being the sibling.
Yeah. Like you're next. I'm like, why are you putting that in the universe? Welcome and scene. Calm down. Okay. Welcome back to Inside the Black Box, and now we're going to do what's called a cold read. Now, I just want to say in general, as actors, you guys should be reading aloud every single day. Not everybody writes how you speak, and you have to get used to other people's words in your mouth. And that's why it's important for actors to read. Unfortunately, as a casting director, I've had to fire people at table reads. So it's important as actors, every single day you read. A cold read is a scene or a monologue that you've never seen before, and we know that. Where's our volunteer?
Right here.
Come on over here. So, first of all, what's your name?
Reina Cedeño.
So I'm gonna hand you this script. Okay. And Felicia is going to set up the scene for us.
St. Mary's Church, a beautiful pearl white interior walled church with high, colorful glass windows that the sun beams in just right through. is full of a somber presence. As Janissa gets up to read the eulogy at her grandmother's funeral, we can almost hear the cries of Janissa's family through the silence.
A farewell letter from our grandmother, mother, sister, and friend. For my family, whoever finds this, you were intended to. Make sure you read this at my funeral. Don't let your Aunt Lorena make that decision. I decided to write my own eulogy because we know how the drama goes with this family. And I figured no one listened to me while I was alive. But I may have your attention now. To my wonderful children, I adore you, and I thank you for actually giving me life. To my son Andres, who never took a penny from me. There's an envelope with your name on it that your Uncle Benny has for you. And if anyone dares to ask him for $1, you'll be up in here with me next. So mind your business. To my beautiful daughters, Lydia and Lana, stop fighting. You know how Grandma was. You are all each other has, and you're more alike than you know. Humble yourselves. And damn, pick better men. You both have daughters to lead. To my surviving siblings, you ain't far off. So live your life. I'll see you soon. And lastly, to my JJ, who I knew would find this, I will always walk with you. I can't. Your selfless love kept me alive longer than you know. I felt your foot rubs when I was sleeping and your morning hugs when you couldn't get me up. Thank you for always listening to my same stories. You acted like it was the first time. Every time. Look for me in everything you do. I will be there. I'm sorry, y'all. I love you deeply, my family. Tighten up. So you don't wind up here sooner than you have to. Until I see you again, Grandma.
Thank you. That was beautiful. We have tears here.
No tissues.
Ah.
And no tissues.
I need a tissue.
And no tissues. So, thoughts? This is TV.
There are times when I love it when it's like that, when you don't have thoughts, you just, you're there. And I was there because you were there. And thank you.
Thank you.
Although I think I resented being the sibling.
Yeah. Like you're next. I'm like, why are you putting that in the universe?
I already used this direction. I already used that direction. I was like, well.
Good for you, really, good for you. That was great.
I applaud you.
Thank you.
Again, it's very brave to do a cold read and to do the work and your commitment. And you know, the thing that I loved is that characters have characteristics, right? And what you were consistent with, when you guys are nervous, use your nervous energy. And that's what she did. This, you couldn't direct that and she used it in the character. So we didn't say, oh, she's nervous. We said, oh my God, she's having such a difficult time with this, and it's challenging, and the love that and it was brilliant.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And look, you made her cry.
I went in front of Miss Huxtable.
Oh! Give it up for Raina.
When you were young, what made you want to go to Howard? Like, what was the platform? What was out there that made you say, you know, I'm going to Howard? A woman, a young girl from the South traveling north. Like, how did that come about?
My father told me that's where I was going.
We've had a great time with all of you, but I have to say, especially with my good friend and remarkable guest, Miss Phylicia Rashad.
Before we wrap today's class, we're going to turn this over to you to ask questions. And let's start with the general audience presented by the General Insurance. So what is your name?
My name is Felipe Caeta. My question is, early on in your career, did you find yourself trying to strike like a balance with like playing against type and like, you know, pursuing projects that interest you? Or did you just like dive all the way into type and then like carve your own way out there to like really let your voice be heard?
That's a real... That's really very interesting. I never thought of myself as a type. I was so consumed with wanting to work just anywhere, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I never thought of myself as a type. I don't think of myself as a type now. Don't you think of yourself as a type?
Amen. Thank you, Felipe. Thank you. I believe we have a question on the floor. Hello, and what is your name?
My name is Mitchell Ugwezi.
Okay, Mitchell. Okay, Mitchell. So what's your question?
My question is, they say things get better with time like wine. Do you believe that is true in general for the craft of acting?
That's a very interesting question. Yeah. What I would say is styles change. If you look at films from the 1930s, the 40s, and you notice the styles of production and acting change over time. Rhythms change, I think, because the world changes and people change. So yeah, you're different. And I think that's pretty wonderful.
Thank you, Mitchell. We had another question. We do. Yes.
So my question is for actors who are more seasoned in age that are finally starting out. I mean, I'm not a day over 30, but I'm just saying, what would be your advice to us?
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it. Be free, and be open, and be wise, and be true.
Okay. All right, a question here. Okay, your name?
Hi, I'm Jaleesa Capri, a proud Howard alumni.
Woo!
You know? I mentioned this to you, but something that you said when you came into the masterclass is that when you change the way you look at things, you change the things you see, which stuck with me, so I wanted to say thank you for that. But also, how do you stay motivated in those in-between times when you're coming up?
I know that the in-between times, they seem like an eternity, don't they? And you wonder, is it ever going to change? Is this ever going to be different? Am I really in the right place? you're in the right place. Love what you do and see yourself where you want to be. Okay?
That's beautiful. Did you get the mic? Great question. All right, young man, we have a question here. Your name?
Hi, my name is Akim Black in my New York accent. That's all I got. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate this platform. I just have a question for when you were younger. Like, when I was young, A Different World inspired me to want to go to college. Like, when you were young, what made you want to go to Howard? Like, what was the platform? What was out there that made you say, you know, I'm going to Howard? A young girl from the South traveling north. Like, how did that come about?
My father told me that's where I was going.
And scene.
He said, darling, you can apply any place you please, but you're going to Howard.
Excellent. Okay. I have a question here. What's your name?
I'm Stephen St. Pierre.
Hello, Stephen.
The handsome man with the bandana.
Yes.
As we established.
Yes.
You've been very successful, and there's many different levels of success. Can you talk about a time where you felt, and what project or role was it that made you feel like, I'm here?
I'm here. Well, certainly working in The Cosby Show was significant. It was significant for a number of reasons. What I found most significant was that it opened the doors in theater that I hadn't been able to get into
That's
before.
interesting.
Because I was called to audition for Sondheim, for The Witch and Into the Woods. Because I was visible.
Right.
Okay. I was the same actor. I was the same, you know, we never stopped studying. I kept studying. I keep studying. I was the same, but all of a sudden I was visible. So I'm here. I don't know if I'm here yet because there's so much more to do. And there's so much more to learn. I'm learning something all the time. So I don't know if I'm here yet. I'm approaching.
Thank you, Phylicia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone that asked some really, really great questions. And I just want to thank all of you for being here. I don't have the words to thank you. I am so indebted and so in love, so in love. So, Joe, what did you think of today?
Difficult to put it in words, although I will say Phylicia and I don't get a chance to talk to each other very often. So for me, this was a conversation that I will never forget. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
You've all been a wonderful class. I think not only have you learned something, I think we've all learned something. And as they say, late at night, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
And class is dismissed.